Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. And this is Ben and Barry on football. Been busy.
How you doing out there? I am the co-host. My name is Ben Dickerson. Fantasy geek, lover of everything football, especially the NFL.
Yes. Ben's fantasy, I'm Madden. Ben.
Yes.
You probably hadn't noticed, but if you turn around and look, you'll see.
You beat the Ravens in Madden. Good job.
And guess what?
And that's the score, 34-31?
Yeah.
The real one might be like that, too.
Holy mackerel.
Real
It was
game could be
not
like that,
easy.
too.
That was not easy. So, yeah, what I do is I'm playing the franchise. I don't really have time for the online stuff. So I play the franchise. So I'm playing the same schedule that my Niners, my beloved Niners, play. And so I just went up against the Ravens and squeaked by with a 3-point. That field goal, man. I hope Gold's back. I hope he's back for the game.
Oh, I don't know.
We can't afford to be missing field goals against those guys, man. I'm telling you. You might notice that we have something that looks like the same shirt. I'm going to ease up just a little bit so you can see the shirt there. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, nice shirts.
Most Dog Sports. Shout out. We're going to quickly talk a little bit about who they are and why we have their shirt on. I'm going to leave that up to you, Mr. Dickerson.
Okay. Most Dog Sports, founder, creator, president, and CEO. It's a very good friend of mine, James Burton.
And mine.
And his also. We're here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to remind everybody out there who may be watching who is not from Philly. It's going to be a flag football league for middle school kids. Flag football is played pretty heavily for high school kids. They do a lot of 7-on-7, 7-on-7 tournaments, helps prepare the skill position players for regular high school ball. But the middle school kids don't really have that type of an outlet, so at least not here in Philadelphia. So we're trying to promote that, and Jimmy's decided to put this thing together. Just to give you a little background, the name of the league and the name of the organization comes from names of good boyhood, very good, very close boyhood friends of his. Most Dog comes from Tom Chamberlain, whose nickname was Most. A lot of his friends, everybody in the neighborhood called him Tom Most. He's deceased. He passed away in '99. And Gregory Smoke Dog Kent, that's where the dog part comes from. Great friend of mine as well as Jimmy's. He passed away in a motorcycle accident in 2017. And the league, Powerhouse League, is named for Tom Harris, who also passed away in 1991. And his nickname was Powerhouse. That was his neighborhood name. So that's where all this comes from. And we just want to let everybody know that this is probably going to get kicked off sometime this upcoming spring or possibly the early summer. And they're also on Facebook and Instagram, and the website, if you want to go to it and check it out, is mostdogsports.com. Most Dog Sports, not sport. Mostdogsports.com.
You'll know you got there when you see that logo right there.
Great.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, Ben, we're entering week 13.
Yeah, man.
There's 17 weeks to the season,
right? Which
means this is the last 4 games of the year, regular season. And what happened?
13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Okay, yeah. Including the 13.
He's the math major. I help out where I can.
Inclusive. Yeah. I'm just subtracting 13 from 17.
Yeah, you were not counting. I got you.
I wasn't counting that. Yeah. Okay. You're absolutely right, though. And so we're going to talk quickly. Well, we're going to talk pretty much in depth about the the top 10 based on the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings that I produce at www.sterlingnppr.com. You can find it on Facebook. That's where that website will take you to. We'll talk about the top 10 and what those categories that we feel are most important. Turnover differential, points against, points for, and the leader of all, net points.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that a la the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. So we'll look at last week's games.
Yes.
That's week 12. And then we'll look at week 13, featuring what we call the Bias Plus Report, also known as
the matchup show.
The Matchup Show.
Love the matchup show.
The Matchup Show, yes. We'll follow that with some social media, a quick review, some commentary, any rants if you have any. And we're going to kick this off. So, Ben, let's see. All right, so we're going to start this out with our favorite acronym. TOD stands for Turnover Differential. And as you can see, there's a serious range here from 10 through 1. Starting at 10 and 9, we have the Vikings and the Titans tied at a turnover differential of +4. Remind everybody that turnover differential, like net points, are two statistical categories that range from the positive to a negative. So right now we're dealing with the top 10. They're all in the positive. Number 8, the Chiefs with +5. And for the Chiefs, who last year their defense was so questionable, this is actually encouraging that they're at that particular point. Only one turnover differential behind my beloved Niners, who are 7th at +6. And we've had some troubles, you know, in terms of turnovers, but we're getting there. Matter of fact, with 5 turnovers against the Steelers, you know, at +6, that's pretty good, actually. So then you see a 3-way tie there. Ravens, Saints, and Packers, 6, 5, and 4, all at +8 in the turnovers. Again, these are your takeaways minus your giveaways, your interceptions and fumbles on takeaways and then on giveaways. The difference. Seahawks, my sleeper squad, at 3rd place with +9. The Steelers coming in, again, 5 on my Niners, but still, Minka Fitzpatrick is a dog, man.
+10 is really nice.
You know, when the Steelers picked him up, we said, this don't look like the Steelers are like giving up on the season.
No, absolutely
like
not.
you trade away all those draft picks and get a player. That means you look like you want to do something.
Especially when you get a quality player.
A serious quality player.
That makes people pat your GM on the back like, good job, my man.
Yeah, for sure. And then number 1 in turnover differential, the Patriots at +19. That's strong, man.
That's strong. And keep in mind, turnover differential, that means all these guys are on the positive, meaning that they're that much better taking the ball away than they are giving it away. So a +19 is an offense that has Tom Brady, who doesn't throw many interceptions, and running backs who do not fumble. Okay? Tom Brady, a guy that protects the ball. Even when he gets sacked, he rarely gets stripped. Okay? So everything that their defense does, and no doubt they have a ball hawk in secondary, is going to put them that far up.
I'm telling you. And you wonder, you know, how are they doing it? How are they still winning? 10-0?
They lost the game.
10-1, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, they're getting that in there. We'll move on to the next area, points against. Look who's number 1 again.
Right.
And those are 2 stats that go together. You know, if you're in that plus turnover differential category, more than likely your defense is getting it done. So we'll go top to bottom with the Patriots, only giving up 117 points so far all season long.
It's excellent.
That is excellent. And it's a nice little stretch between first and second place where my Niners are coming in at 163.
And everybody's in love with the Niners defense right now. So look at the difference. 117 as opposed to 163. That's how good the Patriots defense is. You know, people have been waiting for them to lose the game so they could trash them, but believe me, they're that good.
Yeah, they're all focused in on whether Tom Brady is Tom Brady or not. But
and then the haters will say, well, they're beating up on the Jets and whatever.
Bills,
that's a big difference.
Coming in at 173. That's who they have to deal with in their own division right there.
Right. So there's no cakewalk.
There's no cakewalk, but that is a strong differential in points given up between 173 and 117. Yep. So nothing crazy there. Bears at 4th with 188. Bears defenses,
they've had their problems, but you don't blow them out.
Look, let me tell you. All right, here's the Ravens. Everybody's all excited about the Ravens. We posted a number of things. We'll talk about that on our social media about the Ravens. They're just like making history right about now. But they're coming in, giving up 202 points. Right behind them is the Vikings. That's strange bedfellows in terms of defense at 205. And then the Cowboys, who everybody seems to be so much drama. There's always drama with the Cowboys.
It's always drama with the Cowboys.
I mean?
It's always drama with Jerry Jones.
Gets on there and he says a couple things, and then everybody's like, is he going to fire him? I'm in the barbershop, and one of the barbers is a Cowboys fan. I'm leaving the barbershop, and I go, man, don't fire your coach. He's like, got to go. He's got to. Jeez, dude.
I love fans.
But when you look at the Cowboys stats, they've got some stats that said, no, they're doing some good things.
Sure.
Maybe all your dreams aren't coming true in terms of wins, losses, or whatever, but they've got some good stats. Still is coming in 12th at 212. Titans and the Broncos tied for 9th and 10th at 217. So those are your top 10 teams relative to giving up points. Mm-hmm. Did you like the Titans?
I'm loving the Titans every time, and the more and more every week I watch them. They're surging. They are surging.
They're in the running for that my intriguing game of the week,
and I would say that they're worthy.
Oh yeah.
They got something going on over there.
There's a few things happening in terms of that. Mm-hmm. Our next area that we talk about is the one that sells the tickets. The last one wins the championship.
Yep.
This one sells the tickets.
It's offense.
That's offense. Let's start at the bottom. Texans, not the Titans, putting up 265. Right behind the Saints, what's that, 7 points overall? Net points for. Behind the Saints. Just ahead of the Saints are the Vikings at 289. Ahead of them, the Seahawks 7th, 292. Cowboys 265. Let's stop there. You got anything you want to mention about these offenses? Cowboys, Seahawks, Vikings, Saints, and Texans?
At this point in the season, I would say the Texans will go as far as Deshaun Watson can take them. Since we're only talking about offense, we won't talk about their defense. The Saints have not put up big scores, but have still won games, even with Teddy Bridgewater at the helm. So I'm not shocked at that. We're used to seeing the Saints up high in this category. The Vikings, Kirk Cousins, slow but steady. You know what I mean? Seahawks, Russell Wilson.
Can I throw something in on the Vikings?
What's
Did you
that?
say Kirk Cousins, running back, Dalvin Cook?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I would say him before Kirk Cousins.
Absolutely, but when you're looking at points for, you expect a dynamic quarterback somewhere along the line, dynamic in some sort of way, or at least in some games. And Kirk has done it.
Are you calling Kirk Cousins dynamic?
In some games, he has been.
Yeah, he's got it. I even have to give him some credit.
Right. Unfortunately, your sleeper team, the Seahawks, are probably only going to go as far as Russell Wilson can take them. But he can take them far. He's having an outstanding season. They're not scoring a lot of points, but don't let him be close at the end of the game. He can close out a game on you whenever. And then, of course, the Cowboys have been up and down. They've had some games where they've been able to score big, and they've had some games, even in the games they lost, they were tussles. I think they only had 1 or 2 really close, low-scoring games. So,
But again, a coach that's supposedly on the hot seat, but his team is 6th in scoring in the league.
They're never satisfied in Dallas, bro. They're never satisfied. I heard several people on several shows on television agree that Jerry Jones really believed this was a Super Bowl season for him. So when you look at their record, he's disappointed. And I don't blame him. If that was his thought process and that was his way of bringing in people and signing certain people to new contracts and things like that, he did all that with Super Bowl in mind. So, yeah, he's disappointed.
Disappointed. That's a shame. That's a shame. 5 Patriots. Sounds like everybody disappointed except the Patriots.
They're fine.
They don't feel like
they're fine.
Disappointed. They're like, okay, it is what it is, But they're right behind the Chiefs, which is interesting, especially since Pat Mahomes was out for a couple games.
He missed a couple of games. Their running game is a little shaky. And you never know which receiver is going to have a big game, but it's usually Tyreek Hill, maybe Kelsey, and then who knows what. So they're not firing on all cylinders like they were last year.
But they're 4th in scoring in the league.
4th in scoring.
The Buccaneers.
Famous Jameis.
Famous Jameis. Come on, Jameis. Look, if Jameis ever gets a hold of these turnovers, of these interceptions,
yeah,
he's going to be just amazing. Yeah. He's going to be amazing.
People have to learn, especially if you play fantasy. If you haven't figured it out like 4 weeks ago, how to separate fantasy Jameis from real life Jameis, shame on you, because he won a couple games for me in several leagues. The guy's going to throw 2 touchdowns minimum. He's going to throw for 300 yards minimum, week after week after week.
Quarterback whisperer is doing his job. Hey, whispering them.
If he can just get off the turnovers, then real life Jameis will be,
Hell of a matchup right here. 49ers.
Oh, look at
49ers coming in 2nd in scoring.
And the Ravens are 1st, and they play each other this week. Oh, it's
we
perfect.
Will talk about that in the Bias
It's perfect.
Plus report, also known as the matchup show.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, thank you. So those are your high scorers. Those are your top 10 scoring teams.
How about those Ravens
in the league, man? So you watched the game. I know you watched the game. And you saw what they did.
Yeah.
And you saw how they did it, the gusto that they had in doing. I mean, they were just, they went to the West Coast. Mm-hmm. Like, this is fun. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm out here. I'll buy me some stuff. And
yeah.
Go on, take the walk on Hollywood Walk of Fame. Spank the Rams and keep on moving.
And keep on moving. They seem so happy-go-lucky. But my thing is, they show that incredible balance of guys that are really having fun, because we can't forget these dudes are young, okay? But they're having fun and they're extremely confident. And their confidence grows week after week because they know that they've got something nobody else has, and that's Lamar Jackson. And they know it, and they're feeding off it, and you can tell when you see guys coming up and slapping him on the back on the sideline. They're like, dude, you're incredible. And he is. And that makes a difference. So
we're going to talk about that.
There we go.
Because he is incredible. But he also took a few hits in that last game.
I think one of those hits was probably the hardest hit I've seen him take in his whole 2-year career.
Dude,
I don't think anybody hit him like that when he was at Louisville. He got popped.
He ran out of bounds one time. I was like, I'm sitting up there like, good. Dude,
yeah, he got popped.
Once you get the first down, everything else is gravy, There's a little extra something on it. All right. So that was our scoring. The next area, and the area that we really talk about at length, because it is the differential between points for, and points against. We're talking about net points here. Let's start at the bottom with the Titans coming in 10th. The Seahawks 9th. They're at 28 and 29 respectively. So again, when you're looking at net points, this is another one of those statistical categories which has both a positive and a negative. Right. For example, the Dolphins, bless their heart, are last in net points with minus 183. So they're the mirror image of the Patriots.
And they've almost been the mirror image of the Patriots the entire season.
Yeah.
Almost. True. They're like the Bizarro World Patriots. They've been either equal or within a point or two either way.
Now, the thing about the Saints is they're getting so much respect, but in reality, they're 9th in net points. They're not really strong-arming people. I mean,
because they're not scoring at the pace that they used to. They're a little down. I don't want to say they're down offensively, but they're down scoring-wise. Okay. The defense is playing pretty well.
Okay. All right. Well, scoring-wise, the Chiefs are normally up there. They're a little bit on the lower end, so their net points are on the lower side at 52. Below the Bills, who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk that the Chiefs would be below the Bills and the Vikings, much less? Probably even the Cowboys. You wouldn't have thought going into the season.
All three of them. Going into the season, you say, when we get to net points and we're getting near the end of the season, wouldn't it be funny if the Cowboys, the Vikings, and the Buffalo Bills were ahead of the Chiefs, and then we both go, that's not going to happen. So, but here we are, folks.
Yes, this is the real deal right here. All right, 1, 2, and 3. My number 3, my beloved 49ers. We are now in the 3-digit net point realm.
Nice.
This is the neighborhood. This is the Tony neighborhood. Everybody here at the big house, man. 3-story crib and all of that. 49ers at 169. And then look at that. 1 point separating the Patriots and the Ravens. I postulated to Ben. I said, wouldn't it be crazy if my Niners wound up having to play the Ravens in the Super Bowl? And again, you have the 49ers against the Harbaugh. That same Harbaugh
could be previewed,
but we got a long way to go before that happens. And if you've seen our schedule for the rest of the season,
it's not going to be easy.
It's going to be a proving ground for the Niners.
When we talk about confidence, if they can beat the Ravens, how confident will they be going into those other games? It means a lot. It means a lot. When guys feel good about what they're doing, it shows in their play.
Before we finish up here, I did want to kind of share again with people. We're at the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings, and I actually graphed this stuff out. I do a little Excel spreadsheet, graph this thing out for you so that you can see, and again, on a graphic basis, that you have these teams that are in the negative, these teams that are in the positive. We pretty much already ran over that with you in terms of your top 10. But these are your bottom 10. And then you got those in the middle here in that little area. And, we're talking about the Bears coming in at 17th with a net point of 0.
Right. So they're right in the middle.
They're like, okay, let's go from here, because you can't say you can't go down because you can, as was proven by the Dolphins and all of the other ones that are in the negative there. So between the Bears, the Steelers, who have +4, the Chargers +6, along with the Rams +6, those are your Midland group right there in terms of net points, but you can go and find that. So that wraps up this portion in terms of the top 10. Next, what we're going to cover are last week's Bias Plus reports and those games that happened last week.